Well, hello everybody and welcome to The One Show with Alex Jones.
And Matt Bacon. Now, tonight's guests have starred in two of the most talked about films of recent years. One shocked audiences when she did a disappearing act as calculating Amy Dunn in Gone Girl.
Nick Dunn took my pride and my dignity and my hope and my money. He took and took from me until I no longer existed. That's murder. Let the punishment fit the crime.
I absolutely loved that film. I'm a bit scared to meet her, though.
I was going to say, don't get any ideas. Anyway, the other guest tonight has reminded us of a pivotal moment in American history, playing Martin Luther King in Selma.
We will not wait any longer. Give us the vote. That's right. No more. We're not asking, we're demanding. Give us the vote.
Well, now they've teamed up for a brilliant new film, and of course, to sit on our sofa, please welcome Rosamund Pike and David Oyelowo.
Wow. Welcome to you both. At a very exciting time in your career, but before we talk about movies, this is what everybody is talking about today. Have you heard about the water bottle challenge?
Yes.
Have you heard about it? The idea is basically just to try and get it to land on its base like that!
How long have you practiced?
Oh!
Right, this is the real truth. All afternoon.
Well, it's actually it's a big thing in our house, actually, this at the moment, but there we are.
I think your technique's a bit off there.
Cindy, we'll be asking you to do it shortly, so less about my technique. You focus on yourself.
You've seen one example, but everybody's doing it. I mean, we're talking about Olympians are doing it. It's been banned in Scotland. We're on the footage. You're going to have to quickly do it again. I don't know, can we replay Al's? Hang on, let's find out if we can replay Al's. Can we replay Al's?
It honestly happened.
No,
it wasn't. Al's. Hang on,
it wasn't on.
Here we go.
They did record.
Ready?
Are they do?
Oh, there you go.
You sort of saw it.
Anyway, you can have a go later on if you fancy. We'll give you a bottle, you can practice in the
Can't
films.
wait.
There we are. Now, last night, we sort of crossed swords with Anne Robinson because she said that she couldn't see any point in having a pet. And we're talking about cats in particular.
I think, though, she was trying to wind people up so that people would watch a series.
Oh, it worked.
However, if you do like cats, you probably wouldn't want to live next door to these ones.
Oh, my.
Look at all these. Oh, my God, these aren't mine. Can you get them? I've just found these three.
Yeah, hello.
He's beautiful.
Come here.
That's why I know they're not.
Very sharp.
Taking over the back alleys and streets around Wood Lane Gardens in Nottingham, a gang of feral cats. Fighting, fouling and fornicating, wild bunches like these are multiplying across the UK. And it seems no one here can agree on what's to be done about them.
They just need to be moved on because it's hazardous to people's health.
It's not their fault that they are wild. We wouldn't leave a dog out for it to fend for itself.
I can't sit outside because it's smelling. That is out of control.
Locals here reckon up to 70 cats are living wild in their gardens. Some want them gone, while others want them looked after.
So I'm here to make sure it doesn't all end up in a cat fight.
Dawn Sumner wants immediate action.
No one wants to come outside their door and have their eyes streaming and they can't breathe with the stench.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking of moving. That's how bad
Really?
it is.
Really?
Yes.
Even the dogs are crying about it, aren't they? I mean,
They are.
After complaints, Nottingham City Council wrote to residents warning them that feeding the feral cats could result in a fine. But this hasn't deterred everyone. Hayley Shooter is just one of the locals still putting out food.
I think it's ridiculous, to be honest, because fining people for feeding a starving animal, I think, is wrong. I've tried a number of times, ringing cat agencies. Everyone's always full.
Over the road, John Stefanovic is looking after 27 ferals in his garden, including 2 kittens.
very soft.
How can you not love that?
Why are you putting yourself out, John, and looking after these kittens?
To have all these sitting round and they watch you do everything and they come to you like dad and mum sort of thing. Oh,
Right.
beautiful.
As John shows me where the cats like to hang out, we find yet another new litter of feral furballs.
Look at all these. These aren't mine. Can you get them?
I don't know. Will I get a disease off them?
No.
Bit worried. It might scratch me. Ah!
He'll do what he's told.
Oh, his claws are a bit sharp. Can I put him down for a sec?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh,
Look at the
gosh,
eyes.
yeah. They're all matted together.
They're all closed up.
He's nearly blind, look, with it. He's absolute gammy. And you're not too bad.
It's crazy.
All these kittens have cat flu and eye infections, which thankfully for us are not transmittable to humans. Charity Cats Protection is on hand to treat them. Jane Clements is their neutering manager.
So where on earth are all these feral cats coming from?
Well, a big part of the problem is that across the UK people are not getting their cats neutered, and that means that they're able to have kittens. One female cat that's not neutered can result in 20,000 descendants in just 5 years.
So what's the plan to sort this situation out?
We're going to start by making sure the cats are fed in one place. That will enable us to trap them and take them to the vet to get a spay or a snip, which will stop them from being able to reproduce.
Of course, feral perils don't just run free in Nottingham. Yorkshire Cat Rescue puts the number of unwanted kittens born across the UK at more than 4 million.
This is every day for us.
Every day we're picking up little scrag ends like you.
There are feral cats living like this throughout the country. Local authorities do need now to take responsibility here, just as they will take responsibility for other things in the local environment.
Rescue Centre manager Sam Davis has been called out to 6 feral kittens born in a back alley in Bradford. Thankfully, these little uns and their mum will be neutered and found loving homes. But being born feral is a tough start in life, with no guarantee of a happy ending.
In this sort of environment, not many of the kittens survive, and sadly this one, not made it. There are other countries that have solutions. Our government needs to look at these countries to see what's working there, because this problem needs to be addressed.
Back in Nottingham, Cats Protection are putting their neutering plan into place. If successful, it will put the brakes on the feral population boom. But of course, it won't make them go away.
You're not going to take the cats away from this area?
No, we're not.
There's still going to be cats here. Yes. Why is that a good idea?
If you remove all of the cats from out of the area will move in. Neutering will certainly help to prevent smells. It will also help to stop the cats fighting and prevent the noise that's associated.
So the people in this corner of Nottingham will still have to share it with their feral squatters. But at least it'll be a little less noisy and a little more fragrant.
Well, we do have an update for you. The latest news is that the process of rounding up and neutering the cats is now underway. And those kittens that you saw, well, they are now at an adoption centre and they're going to be rehomed when they're ready.
They are quite cute, though, aren't they?
I'm glad to hear it.
Let's talk about United Kingdom. It's a true story based on Tae-hee Khan and Ruth Williams. Now, David, you sent an image, didn't you, to Rosamund to see if you'd be interested in taking the role. It's a beautiful picture. This is the image of Tae-hee and Ruth in real life. What type of emotions did that image evoke in you then, Rosamund?
Well, David wrote to me and he sent me that picture among others, and as I looked, I didn't know anything about these people. I didn't know who they were. He just said it's a love story, and I looked at that photograph and I think it was something about, I think I saw the love and I think I saw the journey they'd made somehow in being on that rock, and it made me cry. I just started crying. And it was a really strange and unexpected reaction that you sort of have to pay attention to. And I tend to be kind of private about those things, but somehow it's been talked about. But you know, those things that are inexplicable and aren't to do with you thinking about anything, that those moments when you're preparing for a role, they're the ones that count. You know?
Yeah.
And David, for those that don't know this story, this is something that has been on your mind. You've wanted to tell this story and make this movie for a long, long time. Why is it such a passion for you? And in a nutshell, what is the story?
Well, the story is, as we say, about Tae-hee Khan, who was studying in London in the 40s. He was studying law, and he was the heir to the throne of Botswana. He met this lady, Ruth Williams. They fell in love and got married. And the fallout from their interracial marriage was something they could not have fully anticipated. It caused a diplomatic earthquake between South Africa, Bechuanaland, modern-day Botswana, and the United Kingdom.
And it really is a story of love, this, and love overcoming all, and the hope that love will overcome all.
That's right. I think you can get quite cynical about that. And, you know, we've all grown up hearing fairy tales about, and love conquering all. And in this story, living it, playing it, I believed it. I believed that, you know, Ruth, I can't really speak for you, but Ruth's strength came entirely from knowing that she was loved. And it gave her this tremendous strength. I mean, she was a very ordinary girl from Blackheath. She'd been quite liberated in the war. She'd done some jobs that would have previously been occupied by men, but she had nothing to prepare her for this experience on a global stage. And that love she had for Seretse, that was a thing that kept her on the straight and narrow. And that was the one thing she was striving for. And in the process, they changed the face of a nation. I mean, it's unbelievable what they did.
Well, the love between the two characters really does shine through in the film. This is them, Ruth and Seretse, having been on their first date when Ruth learns that Seretse isn't actually just an ordinary man. Here it is.
Can we do this again? I mean, meet. Is that too forward of me?
No. No.
What?
Queen Victoria. The man who negotiated for her protection of Bechuana land. He was my grandfather. A king. I am his heir.
Oh, I see.
Well, we don't want to put too much of a spoiler on this, but they do end up having a child, and that child, Ian, is now the current president of Botswana. So was he involved in this process in any way? Did you get to meet him? Did you see him? What?
Yeah, we met him under the most extraordinary circumstances, actually. We were shooting in Botswana one day, and Rosamund and Terry Feto, who plays Naledi, Seretse's sister in the film, were doing a scene. I was on set on that day as well, and we heard this and it was a helicopter. And we were then whispered to that the president is arriving, and he landed.
As the light is going, there's always a pressure.
So were you
on
nervous at that point, thinking, oh my gosh, is the real son?
We didn't really have time to get nervous because for security reasons. We didn't know, we weren't forewarned, thankfully. And so he landed, walked behind the monitor, sat next to me, and had all this sort of presidential bearing about him, sat down, and then Rosamund and Terry started doing... He has good hair. And they were doing this scene, and at the end of it, he turned to me and said, "It's so strange seeing my parents again." Wow. And, you could see
but
the effect it was having.
That's the biggest compliment he could have paid you, in a sense.
I didn't know about that, but yeah, it is. I mean, it must be strange to see your parents younger than you ever knew them, as it were.
Yeah.
And, of course, he was older than both of us.
And to see that kind of whole political story that his parents almost created, and what's come from that, and yeah, I mean, you must have all sorts of emotions mixed up in that, David.
Well, you know, as a very happily married man myself and a shameless romantic, I love this story for the fact that despite all the political machinations, the thing that cut a swathe through all of it was the love these two people had. And as Rosamund said, that went on to change this nation. The power of love did that, and you know, I just think that's an amazing thing to see.
Yeah, it must be slightly frustrating that the film is not out for a little while, because a United Kingdom is out on the 25th of November, but people are going to be excited about it. Real anticipation for this one.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Now, Seretse and Ruth eventually won their battle with the British establishment, achieving independence for Botswana in 1966.
Well, meanwhile, in that very same year, immigrants who'd been invited to work here had their own fight on their hands, as Emma Dabry explains.
This is Euston Railway Station in London. It's a place of fusion and diversity, with people from all cultures working and passing through. But it wasn't always that way.
As recently as 1966, at some British railway stations, black people weren't allowed to work in jobs where they came into contact with the public.
But this man, Asquith Xavier, was determined to change that. I've come to Chatham in Kent to meet Asquith's son Robertson, daughter Maria, and niece Adrina.
People used to come to him for advice. He was like the head of the family then.
As the youngest daughter, he was very protective towards me. I remember a lot of the time sitting on his lap or he holding my hand.
After World War II, there were desperate shortages of workers in Britain. Asquith was part of a generation of people from the Caribbean who came here to keep our workforce going.
The advert went out to the colonies around the world,
They said, come to London. England is your mother country. The streets of London are paved with gold. You can have regular jobs and regular income, and you can have a better life.
And they believed it.
Life was hard for the Xaviers and other immigrant families like them, who earned much less on average than other workers. But in 10 years, Asquith worked his way up from porter to guard at Marylebone Station. With a big family to support, in 1966 he applied for a transfer to Euston Station, where guards were paid an extra £10 a week. But he didn't get the job and received an extraordinary letter of rejection.
It was an unwritten law that they wouldn't have any ethnic minority people to meet with passengers.
What kind of jobs were black people allowed to do?
Cleaning, menial tasks. It was blatant discrimination. He was invited, like everybody else who came, for a better future, and then all of a sudden you want to restrict me. It didn't make sense.
Asquith had a battle on his hands. The letter he'd received had been signed off by members of the National Union of Railwaymen, the very people supposed to be supporting him. But he wouldn't take no for an answer. He kept lobbying the union until eventually MPs and British Railways managers started to take notice. On the 16th July 1966, amid intense media pressure, he got his victory.
There is no colour bar now of any description at Euston.
But celebration was short-lived, and before long, Asquith received death threats. The One Show has uncovered some information about what he went through that not even his family has seen before.
So that's kind of scary for me, looking at that colour guard threaten. He has handed 3 anonymous letters to British Railways Police. One promised that his throat would be cut. Another said, when you get to Euston, you will wish you had never come. So I've never seen that before, and I feel very hurt. I feel very hurt by that.
That's quite shocked me.
He was brave as a lion because look at him there. I've seen him in pictures smiling after these things. He was fearless.
For the next 2 years, colour bars continued to affect workers at other stations. But Asquith's fight had started something unstoppable. In 1968, the Race Relations Act made it illegal to refuse someone employment on grounds of their race. Asquith's achievements have never been publicly commemorated. But now, after 50 years, the One Show has a surprise for his family. We've persuaded Network Rail to honour him permanently in the heart of the station.
I've got a little something, a little surprise to show you all. If you want to pull back this curtain. Oh, wow, look. So yeah, this plaque is going to stand here now for your father's legacy. No, you're welcome. Thank you. Must be really emotional.
It's indescribable. When we came in here, I think it knocked us all sides.
I'm very happy today. I'm very pleased this happened. Oh. Thank you.
Asquith Xavier's fight helped to make all forms of discrimination in the workplace illegal. His is a name that we should all know.
Thank you very much to Emma, and we've got Adrina and Maria in our studio tonight, which is lovely. Hello, ladies. David, what did you make of the story? Because you focused on that film all the way through and were obviously moved by it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Calabar is the name of the book that Susan Williams wrote that, you know, talks of Ruth Williams and Seretse Khama's story. And it's, I just love that you showed that film just to show people how much the black experience is interwoven into British history and how little of it we have seen. That was one of the primary motivations for me in terms of getting a United Kingdom made, is to show how much we are part of this country's history. Not always the best part of its history, but, you know, still a part of it.
A significant part, yeah.
And still very much working on projects in the future with that in mind as well. Well, this week, the husband of a woman who died after falling off her bike whilst not wearing a helmet has called for a change in the law, making it compulsory for all cyclists to wear helmets.
Many people choose not to, and Michael Douglas asks them why.
Cycling in a big city is full of hazards, but if you choose to ride without a helmet,
or even whip out your phone for a quick selfie, could you be taking a risk too far?
I've jumped on my bike to find out why some cyclists might be taking less safety precautions than others.
I just wanted to ask you why you're not wearing a helmet.
Cars give you a wider berth if you're not wearing one. My objective is still getting up to the ground.
I just wondered how safe you feel without a helmet and your headphones on.
It makes it just a really enjoyable part of my life.
Okay.
So I just couldn't lose that. I feel safe. I try and be as aware as I can possibly be.
Yeah. Oh, hi there. I wonder if I could ask you a quick question. Would you normally ride with a helmet, or...?
Yes, I just forgot it this morning, but usually I do.
So do you feel more vulnerable without a helmet?
A little bit, yes.
Yes.
Just like psychologically, I feel, if I fall, I will be more injured than,
Yeah. Just wondered how come you weren't wearing a helmet. Is there any particular reason for that, or...?
I don't want a helmet.
You don't want one? Do you feel kind of vulnerable without a helmet, or less safe?
I was amazed just how many people weren't wearing helmets and how comfortable they were with this.
Do you think everyone should be made to wear a helmet?
No, I think it's a freedom of choice, really. I think it's up to you whether you'd like to wear a helmet or not. Whatever gives you confidence to go out riding is really important. So the biggest way to get confidence is by putting in far better infrastructure than we've got in the UK, so we've got space for cycling.
Now, in this modern age, people have got mobile phones and headphones. There's all these distractions that people can use on a bike. What do you feel about that?
You've got to be responsible when you're on the road. So you need to look ahead at what's going on. You certainly should have your senses about you, your wits about you. And we know all about, don't drink and drive. Don't, be careful when you're on your bike.
Yeah.
We've all got to look out for each other because we're all in this together.
Hey man, I wondered, how come you don't wear a helmet while you're riding your bike? Any particular reason?
Because I'm riding every day. I know every set of lights, what the light pattern is. I know where people are coming from, where the traffic's coming from. I think experience plays a big part of it, being safe.
I don't think I need it because I'm not a kamikaze riding. So
Okay.
I take my time.
Would you be worried at all about something hitting you though, like a careless driver or something like that?
I am, but I am really careful.
If it was made mandatory that you have to wear a helmet, would that frustrate you or
I
annoy
would
you?
break the law.
You would break the law, would you?
Have to go.
Yeah, of course. Thanks very much. See ya.
So one recent study found that helmets reduce the risk of serious head injury by up to 70%, while another study found that those wearing helmets were up to 30% more likely to take risks on the road.
Now, if both those statements are assumed to be true, then surely the best course of action would be to keep wearing your helmet, but cycle as if you're not wearing one.
See, for me, it's not about sort of traffic or roads. It's literally the point that if you fall off your bike and you hit your head on a hard floor, it's going to hurt, so put a helmet on. Yeah. Anyway.
Agreed. You
have them on the rickshaw challenge, won't you?
Yeah,
of course.
definitely.
Now, we found this brilliant clip, David, of you scoring this amazing basketball shot. Your legs in plaster as well, right?
Yeah, just had an operation. No, it wasn't a. That was my fourth time of trying, but still,
that day,
yeah.
I think it's time for him to do the water bottle.
Well, the thing is, to be fair, that's why we're doing this whole water bottle challenge thing. We saw that and we thought, well, if he's
testing my proficiency,
choose your bottles, choose your weapon. There we are.
Now, is the water to bottle ratio right?
It's up to you. You can have a sip of it
there
if you
or
want. If you want to take, I'll remove that thing.
Are we ready?
When you're ready.
Oh! Come on,
okay,
just join in. Just keep going.
Okay, here we go.
Oh! It's not, is it going to happen? You've literally got 20 seconds.
Ah, no, okay. Oh! But when it's not our job.
We will show you that again in a beautiful slow-motion replay. Here it comes. This is you. Live television picks it up and absolutely drops it onto the table. Beautiful. Wasn't that wonderful?
Well done. Now, with autumn well underway, we thought we'd let you enjoy the British summer just one more time.
Yes, so here is Patrick Airy in a very lyrical mood.
Dawn. In a British wildflower meadow.
heralded in by its own chorus. A visit to any such meadow may be graced by 100 species of grasses and flowers. Bird's foot trefoil, harebells, spotted orchids in their thousands. Their alluring scent signals breakfast. Amongst the first to rise are the pollen-hungry bees. Others follow suit. A soldier beetle on cow parsley. A chafer feeds on dandelion pollen, collecting a dusting on its body, unwittingly pollinating the next flower. For this slug, it's the petal of a juicy buttercup. As the day heats up, the butterflies can join the fray. Painted lady, peacock, opening their wings until the sun's rays warm their night-chilled blood. Millions are drawn in to feed off the meadow. Descend down the grassy stems, and a pool of water is home to a new group of inhabitants. A ruddy-darted dragonfly in search of a mate. A raft spider spies the water for its next meal. The hive of activity draws a crowd up above. The feasting insects make a meal for the birds. This swallow has taken its pick from the abundant buffet to feed its chick. A buzzard rides the afternoon thermals, scouring the meadow for a more substantial meal. But as the day draws to an end, the setting sun marks the arrival of a new cast. Ready to hunt through the long night ahead.
Beautiful.
Wasn't that just delightful?
It was.
Patrick Airy there on the joys of our British meadows.
We've had a little chat during that film, and we think we go in Surretsy as a name. We like it.
You sound like I'm the father here.
That would be the ultimate compliment to our film. So I love that.
Oh, we're talking
has been
children in
lovely.
need, actually.
Yes.
Last night, we launched the Sir Terry Wogan Fundraiser of the Year Award. And as we said yesterday, you can pick up a nomination form from your local post office. And now we're going all high-tech. You can also nominate online.
It's been going for a while. And for all the details, including full terms and conditions, go to the BBC Children in Need website. And remember, it's not about how much you raised, it's about how you went about it.
Yeah, we want to hear all those wonderful stories. Well, that is all we've got time for tonight. A very big thank you to David and to Rosemary. A United Kingdom is out on the 25th of
Tomorrow, Patrick Keansey will be co-presenting, and our guests will be the new Queen of QI, Sandy Topsvig, comedian Bill Bailey, plus Keane's Tom Chaplin will be performing. See you then. Bye.